Hello, everybody. How are you this morning? I hope that you have all had a wonderful Easter break, and I hope that you've all managed to spend some really quality time with your friends and family, and like me, relaxing and doing not a lot over the last 4 days, which has been awesome. All right, guys, so welcome. We are here as usual to do our Business Growth Insights training all over social media. We are going live onto Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Lovely to have you joining us. And if you are joining us live this morning, pop a hello and howdy, as Susie Manley would say, in the comments. Would love to know who's watching along with me. And if you are watching the replay, pop hashtag replay in the comments. Guys, if you're not sure who I am, my name is Ali Sugars, and I am the founder of the Heart and Soul Business Academy, the little logo up there, where we love to help support people to build, grow, and scale your businesses to the next level. And we do that using 4 main pillars. They are mindset, motivation, marketing, and momentum. Hello, Chris. I can see you're watching. Hello, Parmay. How are you, my beautiful girl? Parmay is my beautiful virtual assistant. Again, so if you're jumping on, say good day. Would love to say hello to you all. All right, my wonderful people. So today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to stay motivated when business gets tough. Now, just bear with me for a sec, because someone didn't set up things quite properly. Yeah. Whoop. Okay. Hang on. Oh, I love the techie stuff. All right. Let's add that to the stage. All right. So, as I said, we are talking about how to stay motivated when business gets tough. And I know from, I'm not going to say bitter experience, but I know from experience that business isn't always wonderful. Sometimes it is tough because, things happen, like we get asked for that refund, we have a negative client review, or whatever the reason is. Sometimes we mentally struggle to keep our businesses going and keep ourselves going. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. It's the reality of business that we go through highs, we go through lows. And I've been talking to some people over the last couple of weeks who have actually been going through some lows themselves. So this is kind of why I decided that, I thought I would bring this up now, especially because this is too kind of like the time of year things have started to settle with people. They're getting, they're either, how do I put it? They're either continuing with their goals, or you're struggling to meet them, whatever it is, okay? But this is the one thing I want you to remember, guys. Because if you're feeling unmotivated, you're not broken, guys. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just part of the ride. This is part of the journey of being an entrepreneur, right? You can think, I choose to see it as it's kind of like a bump in the road. Okay. And it's okay to have slumps or bumps in the road, because you're not alone. We all have them, guys. All right. So let's talk about why motivation dips, why they might happen. Okay. So the first thing is burnout, right? Or overworking. At the very, very start of this live, I said to you, I hope you have managed to rest and relax over the last 4 days, right? We've had our Easter break. We've had a 4-day weekend. And what I see a lot of people doing is working over these days. And I think, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to let your body and let your mind rest? Okay. This is something that I have actively chosen to do over the years. I didn't used to do this, guys. I used to work all through Christmas, and I used to work all through Easter. And what do you think happened? I got burnt out very, very quickly because I wasn't allowing my body and my mind to have a rest. In reality, in business, our minds never really switch off from business. All right? I'm just going to say that, because our businesses are our babies, and we're always thinking about them. They're always there. But you still have to let yourself relax. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to keep going. So burnout, is a big thing. It is a real thing. And overworking, long hours. Are you working too many hours in a day? And again, not allowing your body. Still on the cover page. Thank you, Pame. This is why I love my beautiful VA. Let's see what's going to happen here. We got to love tech, don't we? Okay. Should be good now. Let's give it a couple of seconds. It's a little bit of a delay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Yep. Okay. I think we're working now. I'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, beautiful Pame. Okay. So overworking, as I said, is another thing that we do often. I used to work 7 days a week, 13 hours a day. And that was ridiculous hours. And yes, I got burnt out. Yes, I got exhausted. And guess what? Nothing actually happened in my business because I couldn't think straight, really, basically. Okay, so the next one is comparison and imposter syndrome. Also a big one for a lot of people when you're coming into business, because you see people who've been doing it for a long, long time, and you want to aspire to get there, but you end up comparing yourself to that person and then going in a slump thinking, I'm never going to be as good as they are. Yeah, you are. It just takes a little time to get there. That's the thing, everyone started from nothing. Think about that. Even the biggest names started from nothing. You look at Facebook itself. What did it start as? Nothing. And now look at it. It's the king of social media. So comparison and imposter syndrome, when we allow ourselves to sit in that, our motivation just goes, it's all too hard. I'll never be as good as they are, so why bother? All right. Next one is, if I can get there. Sorry, guys. I'm nervous about the tech. Going everywhere. Okay. Lack of clear direction or purpose. That's a big one too, right? When you lose that motivation, you just really don't have any idea of where you want to go. You kind of, this is that feeling of dragging yourself out of bed rather than jumping out of bed, right? What have I got on today? I don't know. Let's just get up and see, right? Because you don't have a clear plan, you don't have a clear vision where you're going. And even if you do, you might kind of be stuck. How do I go further than where I am? So that lack of direction is when you kind of sit back and you go, I don't know what to do. And you kind of freeze of doubt for whatever reason. All right. This is a big one for us. In business, when we're in business for ourselves, is feeling isolated and unsupported. That's a huge one because the majority of us will go into business for ourselves, right? With ourselves, and we're the only person that does it. So it's a big one. I want to tell you, though, without a shadow of a doubt, you are not alone, because there's a lot of us out there, and that's when we need to build a network around us. I've been having a conversation with someone this morning, who is a part of my network. And, we've been supporting each other, which is brilliant. So these are some of the ways or some of the reasons why your motivation might dip in business. So let's reframe some of those things as motivation, okay? So think about it. Motivation isn't magic, right? You don't just wake up with it automatically. It's a muscle that you have to develop, just like any other muscle in your body, just like your brain. You have to make it happen for yourself. We don't just, there are times when we get automatically motivated when things are going wonderful, right? We'll be motivated. When things aren't going wonderful, a lot of us tend to just sit back and go, I think I just won't bother because I'm not motivated. If you sit back, nothing's going to happen. What we have to do is be disciplined, right? Discipline over motivation. This one I'd probably actually say when you actively have discipline, it improves your motivation. That's probably what I'd say there instead. So discipline improves motivation. And an example for that is, me when I started back in my own business after a 10-year break, I started, and I actually had this thought that I could, that entrepreneurship was just waking up whenever you wanted, working whatever time you wanted, doing whatever you wanted when you wanted. It's actually completely the opposite to that. You have to be disciplined to run your own business. And so the first thing that I did to be disciplined was I set my hours. And I work specific hours during the day. Every single day. I work Monday to Friday, very rarely on a Saturday, sometimes, but I'll never work on a Sunday. That's choice because I don't want to get burnt out as well. But it's also the discipline that it takes, right? And it keeps me motivated. That way, when I'm getting up in the morning, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what time I'm starting. It is like going to a normal day job because it is a normal day job. So I start work at 8 o'clock in the morning and I work through until 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the afternoon, not 4:30 in the morning. That's pure burnout. So you don't have to feel inspired to take action, guys. And actually, what I say, when you're uninspired, that's the best time to take action, because by forcing yourself to take the action, it will help you become inspired. Does that make sense? So just do it. If you know there's something that you need to do to get your business moving, then just do it. Don't sit back. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Discipline yourselves and say, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take that action. And then what does it do? It motivates you. It helps you feel inspired, and it all comes back around again. Action breeds clarity and energy. It absolutely does. So, when we're unmotivated, we just tend to sit back and go, oh God, like I said, it's all too hard. But take that action, right? The more action you take, the more energetic you'll feel, because things will start to happen around you, right? And all of a sudden you will have this massive clarity. I remember there was a time, and I think I've shared this story recently, but I'm going to share it again. There was a time when my bank balance was very, very low. I was very depressed, and there were things that I had to do in my business that I really didn't want to do, right? And I was overwhelmed, and I was really unmotivated in the sense that it was all too hard. But what I did was I sat back and I went, no, I'm going to show up, discipline, the same hours that I've been showing up all this time, and I'm going to take action. I'm going to put things into place. I'm going to up my energy however I need to. And when I did that, the clarity that came to me and what I needed to do to completely turn the situation around was amazing. And I tell you, I turned the situation around within a week. And I had money flowing into my bank account. It was brilliant. But it took a little bit of work to do there because I had to activate that motivation muscle. Okay, so let's go to 5 go-to strategies to reboot motivation. Number 1, the micro win method. I love this. So just if everything seems too overwhelming, just set tiny achievable goals. When you reach them, make sure that you celebrate them. That's a big one. We don't do that enough in business. We don't celebrate enough in business. So if you've got a big goal that looks so far away that you go, I don't know how the hell I'm going to reach that, right? Bring it right back. What is one little thing that you can do today that's going to move you more towards that goal? what this does is it builds momentum and it gets you out of the I can't be bothered mode, right? Gets you out of the inertia. What's Parme saying? Sometimes we need a little push to realize how important it is to have a clear understanding of why we're doing this. Absolutely, we do. So you want to keep building that momentum in yourself, right? Activating that motivation muscle. Number 2 is always go back to your why. This is so important. I know I say this a lot in these trainings, but we need to really clearly understand why we're in business, why we help who we help, why we're in it for ourselves, right? So go back to your why. Reconnect with the purpose behind your business. Why do you do what you do? Feel it in your heart, because that's why you started in the first place. That's why I did. I started helping people in business to develop their businesses because that's my heart. That's what I've loved doing this for the majority of my life, and I love to help other people do it as well. There's other reasons, but that's the main one, right? Who are you helping? What difference are you making for them? That's huge. One big thing you can do here is go back to your testimonials, go back to your reviews, client reviews. Do that. That's huge, right? I love doing that when I'm feeling down. Switch up your environment or your routine. This is really good too. If you don't have that disciplined routine, maybe it's time to start one. But even so, I know this is one thing I have to do all the time. If you look around your office or your desk or whatever and it's messy, tidy it up, right? I have to do that often because I'm a creative. I'm not a very tidy person, especially in my office, right? So I have to constantly tidy it up, move things around, switch up the environment, just make it so I feel good when I go into it. So yes, but more than that, you can change where you are, right? If you're sick of sitting in the office, get outside, go for a walk. A wonderful thing that I love to do is whack on a playlist and have a good sing. My neighbours don't like it, but I love it. So, change things up. Get out of that boring routine because it can become boring. Because a physical shift can kickstart a mental shift, right? Again, when I was in that space and I didn't know how I was going to get out of this pickle, right? I actually didn't know how I was going to get out of the mental funk. Going for a walk around the beautiful place where I live was actually that and my network helped me come up with a brilliant idea of how to resolve the situation. So it's exciting. So don't be afraid to switch up things, get out of where you're at, tidy up around you, just make it feel comfortable again for you. Number 4, create before you consume. So what this is when you're starting your day, before checking your socials, right? Because what is the first thing most of us will do in the morning? We'll check our socials, we'll check our emails, right? But maybe before doing that, before opening your emails, before checking social media, because there can tend to be a lot of negative stuff on there, do something for your business instead, like for your business, right? Because social media isn't always there for your business. It is for your business. Anyway, I could go on about that, but that's going to confuse you all. So do something like pay a bill for your business, right? Reply to a client inquiry that's maybe been sitting there for a while. Organize your day, right? That's really important. Something that you're doing for your business and yourself is organizing your day. And this will help keep your energy up during the day, right? And you want to make sure too that it's aligned with your mission of your business. Okay. So, and then once you've kind of done that, you're feeling organized, you're feeling ready, then you can jump on your socials, right? Then you can check your emails, because if by some chance there's anything negative in there that's going to dip your motivation again, then your energy's already up, so it's not going to affect you as much. Does that make sense? Hoping this is making sense to everybody. So motivation versus burnout, there is a difference, right? I know I said at the start that burnout is a type of loss of motivation, but there is a slight difference, right? So sometimes if we're not unmotivated, right? Let me rephrase that. Sometimes if we're feeling unmotivated, what it is, we're actually exhausted. It's more exhaustion than anything else, right? It's not lack of motivation. It's just that we've worked ourselves to the bone, which is what I did when I was working 7 days a week, 13 hours a day. I worked myself to the bone and I literally could not mentally function anymore. That was burnout. It wasn't lack of motivation, right? Big difference. So signs to watch for in particular for burnout are if you're getting irritable really quickly, right? If you have really low energy, and you'll feel the difference in your body too. You'll feel the difference between burnout or lack of motivation. But very, very low energy where it's kind of burnout for me was like I could barely lift my arms. That's what it was like. And I'd struggle to get up out of a chair. That sounds really shocking and really lazy, but that's what it was. It's just like, I'm done. I just could not physically move my body. I was very irritable. Yes, I'd snap at people really quickly. And avoidance, avoiding the hard stuff, I think, was what I would say when I was burnt out. It wasn't procrastination. Procrastination is different, right? I think procrastination is more when you do have that lack of motivation. But avoidance was just, it's all, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't even know if I'm making sense here. Let me know if I am making sense. So this is what I want you to do. If you are, I want you to think about, are you unmotivated or are you in burnout mode? There's a difference, okay? If you're in burnout mode, give yourself permission to rest. This is a business strategy, guys. It is one that I've embraced, right? It's not laziness. It's actually a necessity. But if you're unmotivated because of things that are or are not happening in your business, that is when you need to develop that strategy and bring yourself back to be motivated again. Okay? See the difference? All right, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed today. And if you have any questions, please feel free, if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay again, pop #replay. But if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. I would love to have the opportunity to come back and answer them. I'm always an open book. I've got nothing to hide. And if you've enjoyed this and you'd love to find out more about the Heart and Soul Business Academy, we teach all of this stuff and a whole lot more. We go very deep into those 4 pillars. Mindset, motivation is a big one. Marketing and momentum. I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you. You can feel free to pop the word academy in the comments. What we'll do is we will organise a time for you and I to have a chat in a free 30-minute business booster call where I want to learn all about you and your business. That's the most important thing to me. I want to learn about maybe why you're feeling unmotivated, where you are, where you're at now, talk about your goals and your aspirations. And let's help you. Let's find out how the Heart and Soul Business Academy can help you guys. I would love to have that opportunity. So thank you for joining me this morning. Now, just to let you know too, guys, this will be my last Tuesday for a couple of weeks. We're going to be playing some replays over the next couple of weeks because I am at the end of the week off on a holiday, which is lovely because it's time for a holiday. I haven't doing something I haven't done in many, many years and heading off overseas. So if you would like to have that chat with me in the next couple of days, Pop Academy, we will organise a time and we'll hopefully get you into the Heart and Soul Business Academy. Thank you guys for joining me today. I will see you on Thursday for another training, Thursday morning for another half training, and that will be the last one before I go off. But we will be playing replays of some of our most popular trainings that I've done, so you're not missing out. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you again on Thursday, everybody. Bye.